So where is the wise one of this age? I don't know if that's a question or a lament. Where is the wise one of this age? Maybe it should be you. What is wisdom anyway? Wisdom. Smarts? Street smarts, maybe? Common sense, understanding, insight, or perhaps overview. Overview, the ability to take in the bigger picture, see what's really going on. And if there's a problem, as there seems to be these days, to know exactly what the problem is and what it portends and how to fix it. Maybe that's wisdom. Wouldn't we like someone to tell us all of that right now? Where is the wise one of this age? Maybe it should be you. Someone suggested once that wisdom is like a skilled sailor on the sea. How is wisdom like a skilled sailor on the sea? Well, they didn't say. But maybe wisdom is like a skilled sailor in this way. That, well, first of all, a skilled sailor respects the sea. I mean, any experienced sailor has a healthy respect for the sea. Right? How is wisdom like a skilled sailor on the sea? And as I was saying, first of all, a sailor respects the sea, has a healthy respect for the sea. And we're told that awe and humility is the beginning of wisdom. But maybe wisdom is like a skilled sailor on the sea in this way, too, that, well, I don't know about you, but when I'm on a boat, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why the wind changes direction, it rises and falls. I don't know what the water's moving around all about. I don't know how to read the sky. I don't know what the weather's going to do. To me, it's all just essentially random. It's chaotic. But a skilled sailor can see in all that apparent chaos a path through it, right? A skilled sailor can see order in that apparent chaos and make a path through it. Maybe that's wisdom. We impose order on the world all the time. To make a home is to impose order. You have to clear a space and build a shelter. And you know, if you don't maintain that cleared space and that shelter, nature will eat it. Right? Literally, nature will eat a yard and a house if you just leave it alone. So we have to impose that order. And in a much bigger way, we're imposing order in these vast networks of exchange and agreement. Just a simple thing like going to the grocery store to pick up some food, that requires this extensive network of delicate agreements and arrangements just to get a box of crackers on a shelf in Augusta. You know, it's fragile. We're always probably just one solar flare away from being back in the Dark Ages. So maybe imposing that, creating order, is a work of wisdom. And respecting the complexity and the delicateness of that order. Maybe that's a work of wisdom. But back to that boat. I like to go out to Monhegan Island when I can. I don't know if you've ever been out there, it's beautiful. And Monhegan Island is not within a bay, really. It's out to sea. So usually when we go, we take a nice big ferry out of Damariscotta area. But the first time I went on this boat called the Laura B. The Laura B might still be sailing. God help them. The Laura B was basically a lobster boat with a sort of summer cabin built on the back. And first time I went out, took the Laura B, and it was October. And going out was clear as glass, and the sun was shining. It was beautiful. That night on Monhegan Island, endless stars in the sky. Next morning, got up and it was snowing. And the wind is blowing. Went down to the harbor. The surf is banging against the rock pier. And there's the Laura B, ready to go out to sea. So I got on the boat, and someone explained, if you're feeling seasick, there's a pendulum hanging on the wall of the cabin back there. You just watch that. It'll keep your bearings. Well, it turns out I don't get seasick. Guess I got that going for me. So while everyone around me has got their heads between their knees, I get to see what's going on. So I look at the pendulum, and the pendulum's going, zip, zip, zip. That's no good. So I look out the side of the boat, and it's ocean, sea, ocean, sea. That didn't help. I look back at the island's going, zip, 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 zip. So I thought, okay, we're going to die. But I think I learned something about the secret of boats. Because you see, what makes a boat work, I think, is that in the midst of all of that crazy motion, there's a still point around which everything else is tossing and turning. There's a still point that just goes through the sea. We can impose order on the world, but also within, there's a still point. There's a still point within us. I heard a good one from Danny DeVito the other day. You know, the actor is mostly a comic actor. He said, how many actors does it take to screw in a light bulb? The answer is one. He just holds a light bulb and the world revolves around him. So the joke, of course, is that his ego says he's the center of the universe. But you know, there's a truth to it. There is a point, and spoiler alert, it's not your ego, but there is a point within around which everything else revolves. There's that still point. When we sit in prayer, we get very quiet and sit very still. The breath rises and falls like the ocean waves. And our thoughts fly around like a wind. And that's the time to pray to wisdom, to bring you to the still point. The still point at the center of that. In this world of crazy chaos, what do we need more than all of us to find, to ardently seek that still point? That's where the counsel comes from wisdom. I remember once visiting someone who was under a death sentence. Not someone in prison or death row or anything. Under the same death sentence that we all share. Mortality. This person happened to have a terminal cancer diagnosis. So she was more aware of mortality than we usually are. So I asked her, what's your philosophy of life? And she said, you know, much as I hate it when people say, it is the way it is the way it is. And she said it in a way that was not desperate, not defeated, had no death in it. She said it with life, as an affirmation of life. A gift from the voice of wisdom. Thanks be to God. Amen. Amen.